I just realized something. Up to now, since I started doing figure reviews for DC Multiverse, I have yet to look at a Superman figure. So, today, we are finally looking at a Superman figure. It is not your traditional Superman, however, because this is a Black Lantern Superman. So, with that said, let's look at what this figure comes with. And the answer to that is he doesn't come with anything. He has no accessories. He does include build pieces for Atrocitus, and that is it. Yes, this is the second, or it's not the second figure, but this is another figure within the wave that has no accessories to himself. And I mean, you can say that it's like, oh, he's a Black Lantern. All he needs is his ring, right? He's Superman. But I mean, he can still use the flight hands, right? I mean, he doesn't just have to have fist hands. But it is what it is, unfortunately. So there's that. However, he does come with his traditional data profile card. And let's read this data profile card for those who want to know which version of Superman this is from. So his real name is Kal-El Clark Kent. Sent to Earth from the dying planet of Krypton as a baby, Kal-El was found by farmers Martha and Jonathan Kent and raised as their son Clark. As Clark grew up, the radiation from Earth's yellow sun gave him enhanced senses and extraordinary powers. Once fully grown, he used his powers to protect his adopted world as Superman. After his death in Infinite Crisis, the Superman of Earth 2 is revived by Black Lantern Ring and attacks the Superman of Earth 1 and Superboy in Smallville. Yeah, this is the Earth 2 Superman. And they've made an Earth 2 Superman recently as a figure that is part of the Crisis on Infinite Earth build wave. And I will tell you this, I don't have that figure out right now. In the future, if I do a review on that figure, I will bring this guy back in just to compare, just to show how different the sculpts are. And it's interesting because you can say that, yeah, this is probably what happens, to a corpse when they rot and decompose. So, of course, they're not going to look like what they were when they're alive. So, but it is a good comparison to that figure because now I have both versions of an Earth 2 Superman, right? So, all right, let's look into the figure itself. I want to start with that beautiful head sculpt. And as you can see, this is probably by far my favorite head sculpt in this entire wave in terms of like the whole, zombie sort of look, because I like the eyes being red. I like the rotted teeth. It's very much like a decomposing look to his skin tone, right? And it's not just on his face. You can see that going through his arms. And even though this is painted differently, I don't mind it because, again, a decomposing body does change colors if you know that from science or the whole idea of decomposition. So again, it's the same thing over here but lighter. So I do like the color variations of his skin tone because it does give you that feel that this is like a zombie, right? It's not like Batman. Let's bring that Batman back in. Batman's face is, I mean, it does look like he's also like a corpse, but I get more of a vampire vibe from him than a zombie. So weirdly, this Superman looks more like a zombie. So I do like that. As for his suit, there is texturing in the black areas of his suit. I hope that the camera is picking it up because it is kind of visible with the glare. And when there's no light reflecting on it, it's not really visible. He does have these arm gauntlets. I don't know if it's part of the uniform. And of course, talking about the Black Lantern uniform, he does have that similar design going on with the whole triangle stuff. So as you could see, because this is a good time to do comparisons, you can see that Batman also has the triangle thing going on to his thighs, right? Same thing with Superman. Now, the only difference is Batman has the logo for the Black Lanterns, Superman doesn't. Instead, Superman has like this circular thing, which I don't really know what that is. It's just part of the suit design. And this sort of silver paint is more reflective in hand than it is through this video. It doesn't look bad. It could have been better, in my opinion. Like, it looks kind of rough with the way they painted it. Honestly, it could have been painted a little bit better where it doesn't have to look rough. And this is probably supposed to be silver paint too, but as you can see, it's not, right? It's more of a matte finish gray. It's all black on the back, and the cape is tattered, so it's like all ripped up or something, I guess. So there's that. And his boots are all also painted in the same silver paint. So that's basically it when it comes to aesthetics of this figure. It's a very good head sculpt, has a very cool looking suit, and I'm going to be honest, at first I wasn't a fan of this design. Like, when I got this figure, I just wanted it for the build pieces. I wasn't really into the way he looked. My favorite designed Black Lantern in this wave is probably still Deathstorm. But as time went on, the design started to grow. And now I kind of appreciate this figure more than I did when I initially got it 2 years ago. So, yeah. If you need a Black Lantern Superman, I would highly recommend this figure. He's not that expensive, I don't think, because these figures, I think, are still probably obtainable for regular price or even lower prices. They've never went over like 30 to 40, so not that I know of. Yeah, so I would recommend this as a figure you would get if you need a Black Lantern Superman for your Black Lantern shelf, or if you're a Superman enthusiast and you collect every Superman figure, no matter what it is, then this is another figure right here for you if you missed out on this one back when it came out. It's still available, I think. So, yeah. Okay, let's get into articulation. Articulation on this guy is okay. He's not the best. So, his head articulation, he can look up pretty good, so that's good. He can slightly look down, but it's not as good as looking up. He can also tilt his head side to side. He can turn his head, all the way if you want to, but also to side. So head articulation, really, really good. I like the way that moves. His arm can double joint. It's not as ugly as the Batman's, in my opinion. So there's that. And as for his arms going out, this arm freezes a lot on me, so I need to use hot water to fix that. But both arms are able to lift up. They can go all the way because the cape doesn't hinder their movement. As for his torso, it does move and rotate, but it's also very tight. So keep that in mind. My waist is really tight, so it's not going to move, unfortunately, unless I use maybe hot water to loosen it. As for splits, he's not going to do much splits because his waist piece right here, the diaper piece as we like to call it, they didn't carve out enough room. So even kicking outward is like really bad. So articulation in the legs are not the greatest when it comes to that. As for doing double jointed articulation, he can do it, but just be careful not to, force the joints if it's way too tight. Again, use a hair dryer, use hot water to loosen it. He does have toe articulation down here and also feet articulation, rocking back and forth, and also going side to side like that with the rotation. So, yeah, articulation is standard. Not the best, not the worst, but it can still get the job done for what you need him to be posed in. And here's another look of him with the Batman for comparisons. So pretty good. And one thing I forgot to mention, and I will mention this now before I end this video, is there is one detail that they missed on this figure, which makes it really disappointing. As you can see on this photo, he does have a Black Lantern ring on his left hand. I'm going to zoom in on his hand right here. So let's move Batman out of the way. There is no ring sculpted on his hand. And it is unfortunate that they didn't do that. Either they forgot to, or because it was like a production error, or they just chose not to because, you know, cost-cutting measures. And that is a bummer. And on top of that, I wish he came with an alternate head, because the head expression, or his like expression in the comic book art right here, is really grimacing, right? It's really scary. So it's better than the face on the figure, because on the figure it's like a very mute expression. It's very neutral. Like, he's not angry, but he's not evil looking either. He's just a zombie. He's just like an undead looking character. So it would have been nice if he at least had an alternate head sculpt, in my opinion. Same thing with Batman, actually, now that I think about it. Even though Batman has that screaming face, I mean, it would have been nice if they included another screaming face where it looks like he's spitting out stuff. So, just things that they could have done, but they didn't do. So, yeah. And with that said, this is our first look at a Superman figure. And I would say get him. He is not a bad Superman figure. If you need a Superman that is very different and weird looking on the shelf, I would say get this figure. I think he is still probably acquirable through cheaper means. He's not that expensive. So yeah, if you found this video informative, give it a like. If you want to subscribe to my channel to keep updated with future figure reviews or my other content, which is Forge to Fight videos, you can also do that too. You don't have to do any of this. In the end of the day, I upload these videos for fun. And with that said, take care, and I will see you in the next video.